You did everything right. Every bio-optimization method perfected, sleep optimized with morning sunlight and evening darkness, dopamine managed through strategic fasting, cortisol controlled with breathwork, stress modulated with ice bath therapy. Your biology is a masterpiece. Your neurotransmitters are balanced. Your circadian rhythm is flawless. And you feel absolutely empty inside. Not depressed, not anxious, just profoundly hollow. Like you optimized yourself into a high-performing shell with nothing inside. You thought you were broken. You thought you missed something. Another protocol, another nootropic, another optimization. But what you're experiencing isn't a bug in Andrew Huberman's system. It's a feature Carl Jung predicted 100 years ago. He called it the integration paradox, the moment when biological optimization without psychological integration creates an existential void that no protocol can fill. And here's what nobody tells you. Andrew Huberman knows about this paradox. His lab has documented it, but there's no neuroscience protocol that fixes it, because the solution isn't more optimization, it's integration. Carl Jung's integration, the missing layer that neuroscience can measure, but can't create. Let me show you what happens when you optimize everything except your essence, and why the solution requires something protocols can't provide. This is the research Andrew Huberman references, but never fully explains: the gap between biological perfection and psychological wholeness. The crisis that happens when you become optimized but not integrated. I discovered this the hard way. After 18 months of perfect protocol adherence, peak biology, empty existence. What saved me wasn't another Andrew Huberman episode. It was Carl Jung's work on self-realization, the process protocols can't touch, the integration neuroscience proves necessary but can't teach. Emily was a case study in optimization perfection. Silicon Valley exec, 34 years old, discovered Andrew Huberman in early 2022, implemented every protocol with scientific precision. Morning routine, locked. 6 a.m. wake, 10-minute sun exposure, cold shower, delayed caffeine, specific exercise timing, evening routine dialed. Sunset viewing, temperature drop protocol, magnesium threonate, complete darkness. Her HRV improved 40%, sleep efficiency hit 92%, resting heart rate dropped to 48, cognitive performance measurably enhanced. She tracked everything, optimized continuously, performed flawlessly, and in December 2023, she sat in her perfectly lit office with her perfectly balanced neurotransmitters and realized she felt nothing, not sadness, not joy, not meaning. Just optimized emptiness? She came to me thinking she'd failed somehow, missing some protocol element, some nootropic, some timing adjustment. But when I showed her Carl Jung's work on the integration paradox, everything clicked. Emily hadn't failed optimization. Optimization had failed her because she'd spent 18 months perfecting her biology while completely ignoring her psychology. Every morning she woke at 6 a.m., but she never asked why. What was she waking up for? What meaning was she optimizing toward? Every protocol she followed, but she never questioned what parts of herself she was suppressing to maintain perfect adherence. Every metric she tracked, but she never measured whether she was becoming more whole or just more efficient. Carl Jung warned about this in 1921. He saw patients who had achieved everything society valued: success, status, performance, and felt completely empty inside. He called it living from the image, the optimized mask, the perfectly performing self that has no connection to the essence beneath. Modern neuroscience now proves Carl Jung was right, but in ways that make optimization advocates very uncomfortable. 2021 study from Stanford, not Andrew Huberman's lab directly, but collaborators. They tracked 280 high performers doing optimization protocols, sleep, exercise, nutrition, stress management, the full system. After 12 months, biological markers showed massive improvement: HRV up, inflammation down, cognitive scores elevated, physical performance enhanced. But psychological assessments told a different story. 67% reported increased feelings of emptiness, 54% described existential anxiety, 41% experienced what researchers called meaning deficit syndrome. Their biology improved, their psychology deteriorated, their performance increased, their sense of purpose decreased. The study was published, but the psychological data was buried in supplementary materials because it raised questions the optimization industry doesn't want asked. What if perfect biology without integrated psychology creates a crisis? What if optimizing the brain without developing the soul leads to high-performing emptiness? Carl Jung understood this mechanically. Andrew Huberman's research proves it neurologically, but nobody wants to admit it publicly. Because admitting it means acknowledging that protocols have limits, that neuroscience isn't enough, that you need something deeper than optimization. You need integration. The process Carl Jung mapped, the crisis Andrew Huberman's data confirms, the missing layer protocols can't provide. Here's what integration means neurologically. Here's why protocols alone create the crisis. When you follow Andrew Huberman's protocols, you're training specific neural networks. Executive function, prefrontal cortex activation, goal-directed behavior systems. These networks are powerful. They create performance, discipline, consistency, results. But there's another network in your brain, the default mode network, the system that activates when you're not doing, when you're just being, when you're reflecting on meaning, identity, purpose. Andrew Huberman talks about this network, how it needs to be managed. How excessive default mode activation can lead to rumination, anxiety, depression. So protocols are designed to minimize default mode activation, keep you in executive function, keep you doing, optimizing, performing. And for 12 to 18 months, this works brilliantly. You become a productivity machine, a performance engine, a biological masterpiece. But here's what the research shows. Complete suppression of default mode network activity leads to what neuroscientists call narrative dissolution, loss of autobiographical continuity, existential disconnection. You become optimized, but lose the story of who you are. You perfect your biology, but disconnect from your meaning. You maximize performance, but minimize self. This is the integration paradox at the neural level. Executive function without default mode integration, performance without purpose, optimization without identity. Carl Jung didn't have fMRI machines, but he mapped this exactly. He called it the danger of living entirely from the ego, the conscious performing self, while completely suppressing the self, the deeper meaning-making identity. Modern neuroscience, it's basically translating Carl Jung's language. Ego becomes executive network. Self becomes default mode network. But the dynamic is identical. Suppress the essence long enough through pure bio-optimization, and you create the integration paradox. High performance, zero meaning. And here's the neurobiological mechanism nobody explains. Why this happens with such mechanical precision. Your default mode network isn't just about daydreaming, it's the neural substrate for self-referential processing, autobiographical memory consolidation, meaning-making, identity construction. When the bio-optimization method minimizes default mode activation, they're not just reducing rumination. They're starving the neural networks that construct your sense of who you are. 2022 study from MIT. Researchers tracked default mode network activity in 180 high achievers, following strict bio-optimization protocols for 18 months. Month 1 to 6, default mode activity decreased 30%. Participants reported increased focus, productivity, goal achievement. Biological markers improved dramatically. Month 7 to 12, default mode activity decreased another 25%. Performance peaked, but psychological assessments showed early signs: decreased sense of autobiographical continuity, reduced connection to long-term identity goals. Month 13 to 18, default mode network activity suppressed 70% below baseline. This is where the integration paradox emerged universally. Every single participant reported feelings of emptiness, disconnection, or existential confusion. The study's conclusion was buried because it proved something uncomfortable. You can't suppress the neural networks of meaning-making indefinitely without creating psychological crisis. Carl Jung predicted this without brain scans. He saw it clinically: patients who achieved perfect external success while completely suppressing their inner life. The image perfected, the essence abandoned. He called the result a neurosis. Modern neuroscience would call it default mode network suppression syndrome. Same phenomenon, different terminology. And what made it worse for Ashley? She thought the emptiness meant she needed more optimization. Better protocols, stricter adherence, but that's like treating dehydration with more exercise. You're intensifying the problem while thinking you're solving it. Ashley's brain scans showed this perfectly. Hyperactive prefrontal cortex, suppressed default mode network, beautiful executive function, narrative dissolution. She was neurologically optimized for performance, psychologically set up for crisis. The solution wasn't another protocol, it was self-realization, allowing her default mode network to activate, reconnecting with the essence beneath the optimized ego. But here's what makes this so challenging. Self-realization requires doing something every optimizer resists: stopping. Being instead of doing. Allowing unstructured consciousness. Every bio-optimization method is structured, timed, optimized. Even ice bath therapy is scheduled. Self-realization demands the opposite: unstructured time, unmeasured being, space for the default mode network to do what it evolved to do. Carl Jung called this active imagination. Andrew Huberman's research would call it strategic default mode activation. Same process, different terminology. You allow your consciousness to wander, without goals, without optimization, without protocols, just being with whatever emerges from your unconscious. For optimizers, this feels like death, like wasted time, like the opposite of everything that made them successful. But neurologically, it's essential. Your default mode network needs activation time. Your sense of self needs space to emerge. Your meaning-making system needs freedom from constant optimization. Without this, the integration paradox is inevitable. Protocols create the biological perfection, but psychological emptiness fills the void. Ashley started with 15 minutes per day. No phones, no protocols, no optimization, just sitting, being, allowing whatever thoughts, feelings, or images emerged. The first week was torture. Her optimized brain screamed at the waste of time. Her executive function demanded productivity. Her ego wanted measurable progress. But slowly, something else emerged. Memories she'd suppressed to maintain perfect routines. Dreams she'd ignored while tracking HRV. Questions about meaning she'd optimized away. This was her essence, the identity beneath the optimization. the person who got lost while perfecting the protocols. Carl Jung would call this the beginning of self-realization, the process of becoming psychologically whole, not just biologically optimized. Andrew Huberman's Neuroscience would call it default mode network integration, restoring narrative continuity, reconnecting with autobiographical identity. Same process, different words, essential outcome. Because here's what both Carl Jung and modern neuroscience agree on. You can't sustain high performance without psychological integration. Biology without meaning eventually breaks. The optimized self without the integrated essence leads inevitably to crisis. Not in days or weeks, but in 12 to 18 months, the emptiness becomes undeniable. This is what protocols can't fix. This is what only self-realization solves. This is the missing layer Andrew Huberman's data confirms, but his protocols don't address. Now here's what I need you to understand about implementing this. Here's what nobody tells you about the integration paradox. It gets worse before it gets better. Much worse when you start self-realization work. When you begin allowing default mode activation, everything you suppressed through optimization comes flooding back. Doubts you optimized away, questions you protocoled past, parts of yourself you disciplined into silence. Ashley's third week of active imagination was hell. All the meaning questions she'd avoided through perfect routines came screaming back. Why was she optimizing? For what purpose? What was the point of perfect biology if her life felt meaningless? Who was she beneath all the protocols? This is the integration paradox fully activated, the moment Carl Jung described as necessary but painful, the psychological equivalent of inflammation during healing. Your optimized ego doesn't want this. Your executive function sees it as regression. Your protocol-following self wants to quit and return to pure optimization. But this is where real transformation happens. Not biological optimization, psychological integration. You have to sit with the emptiness, face the meaning questions, allow the parts of yourself you optimized away to speak. Carl Jung called this confronting the shadow, the suppressed aspects of self. Not just the negative parts, but everything you excluded to maintain your optimized identity. For Ashley, this included her love of art she'd abandoned for perfect routines, her desire for spontaneity she'd scheduled away, her need for spiritual exploration. She'd replaced with biological optimization. These weren't weaknesses, they were parts of her whole self. Aspects of identity she'd sacrificed on the altar of optimization. Integration meant bringing them back, not abandoning bio-optimization methods, but creating space for what those methods can't provide. This is what separates optimization from wholeness. Bio-optimization methods make you better. Integration makes you complete. And here's another case that shows the pattern differently. Marcus, a competitive CrossFit athlete, 29 years old. Marcus discovered Huberman in 2021, applied every bio-optimization method to athletic performance, sleep optimization, nutrition timing, dopamine management for motivation, ice bath therapy for recovery, heat stress for adaptation. His performance exploded, PRs in every lift. Competition placements improved dramatically. Recovery time shortened. His body became a finely tuned machine, but 14 months in, something strange started happening. He'd win competitions and feel nothing, no joy, no satisfaction, just emptiness. Where achievement used to create meaning, his coach noticed it first. Marcus was technically perfect, emotionally absent, like a robot executing programs without any internal experience. Marcus came to the same conclusion as Sarah. He needed more optimization, stricter bio-optimization methods, better nootropics, more data tracking. But when he found Jung's work on the integration paradox, everything made sense. He'd optimized his athletic performance while completely abandoning the psychological reasons he started training. He'd loved movement, the feeling of his body in space, the community of training partners, the personal growth through challenge. Optimization had stripped all of that away, reduced it to metrics, data points, performance indicators. His image was perfected. His essence was starving. Marcus started integration practice alongside his training protocols, active imagination before workouts, not visualizing perfect form, just connecting with why he was training, what it meant to him, beyond the numbers. Unstructured movement time, no programming, no metrics, just moving for the joy of it, allowing his body to express. Without optimization, weekly reflection, asking, what parts of my love for training did I sacrifice to performance? What aspects of myself did I suppress to become more competitive? His competition results actually improved. But more importantly, meaning returned. He wasn't just a high-performing machine anymore. He was an integrated human who happened to train at a high level. This is what Jung meant by self-realization, not abandoning achievement. Integrating achievement with wholeness, making performance serve the self instead of replacing it. After 3 months of daily integration practice, Sarah's neuroscience metrics stayed perfect, but her psychological assessments transformed completely. Emptiness replaced with purpose, performance infused with meaning, optimization guided by integrated identity. She still followed Huberman's bio-optimization methods, but now she knew why. Not just for better metrics, for living a meaningful life. With optimal biology, the bio-optimization methods became tools for integration instead of substitutes for it. Executive function served the integrated self instead of suppressing it. This is what sustainable optimization looks like. Not bio-optimization methods alone, not integration alone, both working together. Biology supporting psychology, neuroscience enabling meaning, performance expressing purpose, Jung's integration, plus Huberman's optimization. The missing layer restored. Here's the protocol nobody teaches. Here's how you prevent the integration paradox while maintaining optimization. Morning routine. Huberman's bio-optimization methods exactly as designed. Sun exposure, exercise timing, delayed caffeine, ice bath therapy, all of it. But add one element, 5 minutes of unstructured reflection before the protocols begin, not journaling with prompts. Not gratitude practice with structure, just sitting with the question, what am I optimizing for today? This activates the default mode network before executive function takes over, connects optimization to meaning before performance begins. It feels small. It's neurologically essential. Midday integration, 15 minutes of active imagination, no goals, no metrics, no optimization, just allowing your consciousness to wander freely. Jung's practice. Modern neuroscience would call it strategic default mode activation. Your brain needs this to maintain narrative continuity. Without it, optimization slowly erodes your sense of self. With it, performance and purpose. Stay connected. Evening reflection. After Huberman's sunset viewing and temperature protocol, before sleep optimization begins, 10 minutes asking, what parts of myself did I suppress today to maintain my bio-optimization methods? Not to judge, not to change, just to acknowledge, to maintain awareness of what optimization costs, to prevent shadow accumulation. This simple practice prevents the integration paradox most optimizers don't see coming. the emptiness that emerges after 12 to 18 months of pure protocol adherence, weekly integration, 1 hour of completely unstructured time, no productivity, no optimization, no bio-optimization methods, just being. This is where deeper default mode integration happens, where your essence can emerge more fully, where meaning questions get space to unfold. For high performers, this hour feels impossible, wasteful, unproductive, neurologically. It's what prevents optimized emptiness, what keeps you whole while keeping you optimized. Monthly assessment, not just HRV and sleep scores, but meaning metrics, purpose evaluation, identity questions. Am I becoming more integrated or just more efficient? Is my optimization serving my whole self or just my playing a role? Am I developing as a human or just improving as a machine? Jung would call this checking your self-realization progress. Neuroscience would call it monitoring narrative integrity, essential practice. Either way, this is the missing layer, the protocol for integration that works alongside biological optimization. The practice that prevents the crisis, Huberman's data confirms, but his methods don't address. Sarah implements this now, still optimized, but integrated, still high-performing, but whole. Her HRV stayed elevated. Her sleep remained excellent. Her cognitive function stayed sharp. But now she knows why she's optimizing, what purpose guides her bio-optimization methods, who she's becoming, beyond her metrics. She's not just biologically perfected. She's psychologically integrated, not just performing, living. This is what Jung promised, what Huberman's neuroscience enables, what protocols alone can't create. Integration plus optimization, psychology plus biology, meaning plus performance, wholeness. And here's what you need to accept about this. Here's what makes this path more difficult, but necessary. An integrated life is messier than an optimized one. Your metrics won't always be perfect. Your bio-optimization methods will sometimes bend for meaning. Your performance will occasionally yield to purpose. The purely optimized life is cleaner, more measured, more controlled, and ultimately empty. The integrated life is complex, sometimes contradictory, harder to track, and infinitely more meaningful. You have to choose which crisis you want. The crisis of optimization without self-realization that arrives in 12 to 18 months, or the ongoing challenge of staying integrated while remaining optimized. One is inevitable emptiness, the other is sustainable wholeness, messier, richer, real. Emily chose self-realization, not abandoning optimization, completing it, making it serve something deeper than just better metrics. Her life is less perfect now. Her routines have gaps, her bio-optimization methods have flexibility. And she's never felt more alive, because she's not just optimized. She's whole, not just playing a role, living, not just following protocols, integrating purpose. This is what Andrew Huberman's bio-optimization methods can't give you alone. This is what only Carl Jung's self-realization provides. This is the missing layer you've been searching for. The emptiness you feel isn't protocol failure. It's self-realization calling. Your biology is optimized. Your psychology needs development. Your executive function is perfected. Your default mode network needs activation. You're not broken. You're experiencing exactly what Carl Jung predicted and Andrew Huberman's research confirms: the integration paradox. The moment optimization alone reveals its limits. The solution isn't another bio-optimization method. It's self-realization, daily practice, a messy process, essential work. 5 minutes of morning reflection, 15 minutes of midday imagination, 10 minutes of evening awareness, 1 hour of weekly unstructured time, monthly essence assessment. These aren't productivity hacks, they're self-realization practices. They don't optimize you further, they make you whole. And wholeness sustains what optimization alone cannot. Long-term performance, meaningful achievement, sustainable excellence, an integrated life. Carl Jung's depth psychology plus Andrew Huberman's neuroscience. Self-realization plus optimization. Purpose plus performance. The complete system. If this revelation about the integration paradox showed you something protocols alone can't provide, if understanding why optimization without integration creates emptiness changes your entire approach, support this research. The super thanks button isn't just appreciation, it's funding work the optimization industry doesn't want discussed, research that admits protocols have limits, self-realization that threatens the quarterly program renewal model. Every video like this requires reading Carl Jung's complete collected works alongside the latest neuroscience studies, finding the connections others don't want to see. Admitting that biological optimization without psychological integration creates a predictable crisis. When you click that golden heart, you're supporting someone willing to say your emptiness isn't failure, it's data. Your metrics are perfect, but your meaning is missing. Your protocols worked, but your psychology needs self-realization. You're not a consumer of endless optimization. You're a whole human requiring integration plus performance, psychology plus biology, meaning plus metrics. Be part of making honest optimization research possible. Support work that unites Carl Jung and Andrew Huberman instead of selling you the next bio-optimization method. One question will determine everything. One question Andrew Huberman's bio-optimization methods can't answer, but Carl Jung's self-realization demands. When your biology is perfect but your life feels empty, which matters more? Better metrics or deeper meaning? Will you optimize further or integrate finally? Add another bio-optimization method or begin active imagination? Perfect your executive function or activate your default mode network? Your answer determines whether you stay trapped in the integration paradox or begin the messy work of becoming whole. Biology is optimized, psychology needs development, metrics are perfect, meaning needs emergence, performance is peaked, purpose requires discovery. The crisis isn't going away by adding protocols. It's calling you towards self-realization, toward the missing layer, toward wholeness. Comment below which came first for you, the optimized emptiness or the meaning questions. Share your integration paradox moment. Let's see how universal this pattern really is. Team protocols saved me versus team self-realization was the answer. Be honest, because honesty is where integration begins. Welcome to Optimization plus Self-Realization, where Andrew Huberman's biology meets Carl Jung's psychology, where protocols serve purpose instead of replacing it, where you become not just better, but whole. This is sustainable transformation, messier than pure optimization, richer than endless protocols, real, integrated, complete. Your integration paradox is calling, not with another bio-optimization method, with self-realization practice, not with better metrics, with deeper meaning, not with perfected biology, with developed psychology. Both matter, biology and psychology, performance and purpose, optimization and integration, all of it, together, whole.